Hey kids, this is your old Uncle Axebone. You're listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. Now let's go draw something cool.
Hello everybody, my name is Ian Taylor and welcome to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast, brought to you by the Marvel Cards Fan Collective, an awesome community of card collectors and creators. You can find our two groups on Facebook, details of which are at the end of this podcast, so come check us out. With me is my co-pilot in all things Marvel cards. He went forward in time to view alternate futures, to see all possible podcasts that would exist in the year 2020. When asked, how many did you see? 14,605,000, he replied. How many did you co-host? He replied, 1. It's knowing Rad.
It's true. It's really true. In one of these alternate universe, Ian had hair, and he just didn't like me very much in that one, so he never invited me on the podcast. It was strange. I was the only one, but you know.
As a lone voice crying out in the night, collect trading cards, and the knight replied, no. That went dark very quickly. Never mind. It's Sunday as we record. I've turned Alexa on silent and she's flashing red at me, so she cannot be on this podcast. Alexa, no, you can't. But I'll tell you who can be on this podcast. Brian Bode has returned, our MCU correspondent. Hello.
Good morning. I don't know how many repeat. It's kind of like hosting Saturday Night Live a second time.
This is your second time. You're the only, you're almost the only person we've had back twice.
Yes,
so far.
I think so.
Yeah, apart from Norrie, who turns up every week.
But kind of like UFC, I'm a quick add-in host. Apparently, there was somebody else who will dazzle in a future show. I'm just kind of hoping to fill in, and it's an apropos week to do so.
Mate, well, it's good timing for you coming on, because there's been disturbance in the force is the wrong way, but certainly a pebble in the pond on EPAC this week with the release of Endgame and Captain Marvel, which is kind of the same set, which is confusing people no end, because I posted that it was coming out and someone said, are there two sets? And I was like, no, it's the same set, because they've rolled them into one. And yet, looking at the configuration of it, it is kind of two sets being one product. Mm-hmm. Bit strange. Anyway, so you've kind of been wading into that on EPACs. How's it been for you?
Well, I had bought some boxes, the physical boxes, when they came out a while ago, and didn't do so well on those. But I usually advocate for, I don't want the Cracker Jack, I want the prize. But I did something maybe bucket list-esque, is that I actually, right when the thing went live, I went and bought 6 boxes and just wanted to see if I hit something really good that I could possibly, go after one of the big achievements. We'll talk more about that later, but I didn't do great. I did okay. I wouldn't give myself a great score though, but I went and got 6 boxes. 3 of them were shadow boxes as the big insert. 2 of them were sketches. One of them was by Ballard. The other one was by Omar Soto. And I did get one autograph, but it's probably the worst autograph you can get. It's the Sonata, the Asian guy that Ronin.
Oh, yes.
In the Rain.
Yes.
Mm.
Oh.
So I guess he's a big actor in Japan, but value-wise, it's probably that and the Slattery. I would have preferred to have gotten the Slattery, the Tony Stark's dad.
Mm.
Yes.
Me too.
But so I didn't do so great on it. I did hit one short printed. The shadow box, the one where if you get all 6 of the short printed, you actually got one of the insanely great redemption autographs. So one advantage of buying it at that time was that the biggest fish, who I know you guys all know, started pounding my email or my trade request wanting the SP. I ended up trading that one shadow box card. I ended up getting a Michael Keaton autograph out of it.
Whoa.
Wow.
Man, a guy traded me a $200 card for that one card, because if you think about it, you need 6 of those cards to get, I think it was either the Evans or the Hemsworth or whatever, which there's Evans, Hemsworth, and Brolin are 3 insane
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
redemption cards that look really sharp. And each of those cards are going to go for over $1,000 or $200. So if you have one of those 6 cards, you basically have 1/6 of that card.
Gotcha.
So
Wow.
if you take that premise and that this very well-heeled big player basically was like, I don't care, I'll give you this. You know, this is about 1/6 of the value. I'm not looking to make money. I just want the big card.
Wow.
You know, I'll give you a Keaton right here, right now. And I was like, yeah, because I knew I wasn't going to get the other 5. So
Right.
the guy within a day or at the most 2 basically got his redemption card. So he wasn't playing around.
Wow.
That actually
wow. Crap.
how bad some of the boxes were.
Yeah.
Overall, I didn't do well, but I would still advocate that going forward, I'll probably stay out of that. It's kind of like the very beginning of the Hunger Games. It's just a mad dash when everybody's trying to run and grab their weapons and everything.
Yeah.
But I might stay out of that and just kind of lay back and wait.
Yeah. So those achievements that they're going for, because it's taken me a bit of time to get my head around the structure of it. So from what I can gather, there are 3 black autographed cards.
Yes.
There's a Hemsworth,
And Evans
Captain
and
America.
and a Brolin.
and a Brolin. And so those 6 Shadowbox XP go towards one of those. Is that right?
If you can collect all 6 and you're one of the first, it's either 10 or 15, whatever it is,
Wow.
people that can acquire all 6 and basically redeem them.
Wow.
Then basically you win. It's a game completely made up by Upper Deck. It's like,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
we're going to make these really hard to get on EPAC.
Yeah.
First 10 or 15 people that can get all 6 will give you this as a prize.
I'm
And it
with you.
just fosters buying, it fosters trading, it fosters
Of
Yeah.
course.
So
activity.
Yeah.
here's the list. So you have the Exquisite Collection Black Auto Chris Evans, and there are 9 available right now. A total. So there are 9 available of those still. First 25 collectors to redeem complete a 1-shot set. The next one is the Exquisite Collection Black Auto Chris Hemsworth, and that's for the first 10 collectors to redeem a complete Captain Marvel Silver Spectrum parallel set. Those are all gone. The Exquisite Collection Black Auto Josh Brolin, which is the one I think everyone's really dying for, is the first 5 collectors to redeem a complete 1-shot SP set, the one you pulled, right? There are 6 cards,
Yeah.
right? That is also gone. So the
so
Brolin and the Hemsworth are gone.
So it's a 1-shot that you pulled, not a shadow box.
Yeah, so there's 21 of them. There's 15 that are considered regular odds of getting, and then there are 6 that are really difficult.
Right.
Right.
So 1 to 15 gets you the Evans, and there are still a bunch of 9 of them left. I think you said.
Yeah.
Are still up for grabs. If you can get all 15 of those cards and redeem them, no different than redeeming of Fleer Ultra Spider-Man, upgrading to a black or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you win that card. But once those are gone, so like the Silver Spectrum parallel cards, there was a guy a couple days ago who said he would pay $50 for each silver card.
Yeah.
That redemption is gone. Those cards are worth $1 now.
On
Do
the
you
EPAC
need to-
forum, yeah.
Anybody who's holding those now,
Yeah.
It's over.
Ship has sailed. Yeah. So
I got one of those very early on. I bought maybe 4 packs, and I got one of those pretty early on, and I managed to trade it pretty quickly for, I can't remember what I got for it now, but I got some good stuff for it. I was happy with that. But no, those 1-shots, people have been going absolutely crazy for those. And they still are. They're the biggest currency at the moment. So,
but as soon as that game is over, those things are toast. Those are those are no different than strip mine metals cards in Infinity War. They're metal.
Yep.
the same card. They're about as frequent. The base ones are about as frequent as the base ones were in Infinity War.
Yeah.
And those aren't worth much now. So this was completely a manufactured game.
Yeah.
And it's a very short time frame where these values for the one shots, as soon as those 9 autographs are redeemed, like those things will be they'll be like midnight and they'll turn back into a pumpkin.
Yeah, I'll hang on and wait until that's happened. I'll pick them up afterwards because, the one shot, they look okay. The Silver Spectrum Parallel set, I'm not fussed about at all. I thought I don't think the silver effect looked that great on them. The ones I really like, however, are that you can get some. There's some achievements that are kind of a softer achievement, so they don't give you the autographed, and that's the Exquisite Collection black ones. I'm just going to share my screen now because I've got them here, so we can all see what I am looking at. So here, so you've got the Exquisite Collection cards of so the Avengers Assemble and Avenge the Fallen. So the Avenge the Fallen is that dark set of the posters. Yep. And they're absolutely stunning looking cards, but those were the posters that were used to preview the movie in theatres, so you'd see them there. And if you get each of both of those sets, you get one of these, which is pretty difficult to see on my screen, but it's which is really annoying. Bear with me. Are you going to show me this? Mm-hmm. No, it's not going to show me this. It's a bit slow today. Anyway, you get one of those. And then for the e-packs, I've noticed e-pack is quite slow today. I think maybe people are just still scrabbling around to get those last things. Here we go. Right. We can always edit this bit out.
Oh, there's no rush. I can fix it later.
There is for me because I want to get there. I want to see these cards. God darn it! Right, okay. And then the Captain Marvel base set. It's just the regular base set. You get a black one of those. It's Josh Brolin, but it's not signed or anything. It's just a really cool looking black card that unfortunately doesn't show up that well on here. And then you've got base set achievements. So if you get tier 1, you get an achievement card, which is that one. So it's just kind of an extension of the base set, really. Yes. Tier 2, you get that one. Tier 3, you get that one because the tier 3 have got a different color border. Mm-hmm. And then if you get each of those 3, you can redeem them for the third exquisite black one, which is that one.
A very somber looking Tony Stark card.
So I actually really like all of those achievement cards. Mm-hmm. So I'll pick them up down the road when everyone's kind of forgotten about it. I think I've got the first one. I've got the black one. I've got that Letitia Wright one that you get from Avenge the Fallen and Avengers Assemble. So I've got those. But those two subsets, the Avengers Assemble and Avenge the Fallen, are actually really beautiful looking cards. But yeah, it's a tricky old web, but it's definitely, it's been intense, I think it's fair to say. I've seen some crazy deals going backwards and forwards on the e-pack forum. Wow. People, going after these things, and it's those are actually really good sketch pools that you had there, Brian, because they're kind of some of the most tradable artists that you can get on the group.
Yeah, for sure.
Literally, I mean, people go nuts for the Soto.
Yeah. Well, the Ballard, man. I mean, I
didn't have a lot of people reach out. I had several people reach out for the Ballard. I ended up trading the Ballard for a printing plate autograph out of Infinity War that a gent, J.D. Koski, had pulled. There was a dual autograph of Ebony Maw and Nebula.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that was one of the 4 that I needed. So I'm down to 3 to get all of them. I need a Roland, I need one of the Palms, and I need the Scarlet Witch Captain America dual plate, which would be a bear. But no, this guy had one that I didn't have, so I ended up trading the Ballard for that.
Nice.
That's
so
cool.
Here we go. So let's have a closer look at these. Now that we've caught it up, so that's the easiest black one to get. And I can't wait to get that in hand. I don't think the scan does it justice, but I think it's probably going to be a gold foil effect going on there.
I love it. It's so nice.
And they've very much taken this design from their sports side, by all accounts. I just think it's a really, really nice looking card. Beautiful.
Well, we talked about that last time as well, right? Like this being kind of like, we've talked about players being rookies or signature cards or the first time an actor's taken the role of a character in the MCU. This is kind of them, really diving into that now in terms of mimicking the sports side. Yeah, I think it's brilliant.
It's nice. I think it's interesting that they've branded it Exquisite Collection as well.
I think it's very nice. Very, very nice.
So that's the Josh Berlin. We'll put pictures of all these on the tasting notes, folks, for all of you who aren't looking at them. But alternatively, you can go to the trading marketplace on ePack and look at them for yourself, which is exactly what we're doing. And the Robert Downey Jr., I think it's a nice image, and it's a great card. So
I think it's a great way to memorialize that character too, especially for that.
4 of them, isn't there?
Yeah, old boy got 4 of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, old Stephen Frank. Stephen,
what a
good evening, sir. If you are listening, I don't know if you do. But what I wanted to do was look at these autographs that we were just talking about. So let me just get these up here. Autograph achievements. Here we go. So this is Exquisite Collection. You've also got Diamond Auto Relics as well, which we'll come on to in a moment. So this is the Chris Evans. This is the one that there are 9 of them left. And you can see they're numbered to 25. That's a beautiful card.
I think it's great.
Now, Brian, have you got one of those yet?
No, I have a lot of Civil War and Infinity War, but I actually have a printing plate from Endgame, a printing plate autograph of Chris Evans, but it's the one in the spacesuit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But no, I don't have one of those. But if you just wait long enough, somebody will pop one on, and we'll see what happens. That's one of the things there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, darn, I missed the opportunity. And I would just say, just cool your jets and just bide your time, because when Infinity War came out, the strip mine metals had the first to 15 got the gold Holland or the gold Brolin or the gold Batista or the gold Gillen or the gold Witch, or there were 15 of each of those cards, and those were every bit as hype as what these are now. And you just wait and you go on ComC, and eventually, or you go on eBay and one of them will show up. And even though I didn't buy a lot of that product when it came out on ePack, I have one of the Hollands, I have one of the 15. So if you just bide your time and wait, I kind of whipped it in to a pool where you really have to be extremely well heeled to go get, and it's the same people that get these things over and over again. The collectors. I wouldn't say their names, but everybody who's listening, who's on ePack, knows who the big fish are. So, it seems like the same people end up getting these over and over, which God bless them. If they have the money, they can do it. But, we'll just wait and we'll just see what happens.
Market cornered in some cases. This
on purpose too. Yeah, it makes sense.
This Hemsworth, I love. I think that works so well.
I think it looks great. I think it works great on the black. I'm sure in person those eyes are going to pop really, really nice.
It's just brilliant. It's just superb. It's just that
really cool
image of him with
and
his
you know
eyes
what,
glowing.
Brian, I wanted to ask you, man. We talked a little bit about this last episode, but this is kind of like a different Thor from all the other autograph Thors. Not that there's many, right? But this is kind of like the fat, heavy set, kind of Thor.
That picture doesn't, embarrass him or anything like that. It's basically shoulder up. But it's a different one. It's also one of there's in the Thor Ragnarok, there's the Grandmaster's prize possessions where there's 100 Thors that are actually numbered, but most of the Iron Man, Tony Starks, the Chris Pratts, all the Guardians of the Galaxy, like Civil War, the dual autographs and the single autographs of Captain America and all that stuff. None of them are numbered. It's only a few products that I can think of where the autographs have been numbered. The Grandmaster's prize possession of Ragnarok is one.
Yeah.
the even the Strip Mine Metal Infinity War, the Holland that I have, there's only 15 of them, but they're not numbered. I think obviously there's going to be a multiplier. If you have number 1 or number 15 of this card, like or if you have the first or the last, somebody's going to ask even more for it, that sort of thing.
Right, you're going to get the premium and stuff like that. Do you feel like the ones that are...
I don't know if they should get it, but I mean,
yep.
It's not like jersey number or anything. So, I mean, I don't know.
I agree. I mean, some people collect alpha and beta, you know what I mean? I get it. I mean, I always prefer to have alphas if I can for the Surfer collection, but I guess so for your autos, since you're kind of the correspondent for this, do you prefer the autos that have the hard number on them as opposed to ones that don't?
I don't have any of the Grandmaster's prized possessions. I have a couple from the very first Thor movie. I actually got several of the Dark Worlds and like several of the dual autographs of Loki. I have the Infinity War one. Interestingly, the Infinity War autograph doesn't have printing plates. They didn't release those printing plates. So I don't have any of the numbered ones. I don't know if it would add a ton to it. I just think the card is sharp as it is, and I think you're getting a rare one in and of itself. I think it's cool that they took a little bit of extra effort to do it. But I don't know how much it adds to it. I mean, there are sport cards where the numbering can double the value. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
But I don't know. I don't want to give a definitive opinion one way or the other. I don't think it'll add a ton to it because I think if you have a chance to get any of them, I don't care if it's number 1585 or 204. Like, it doesn't matter. I want one anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. 100%.
Yeah, I'm the same on that. For me, down the road, Robert Downey Jr. notwithstanding, as we talked about last time, I'd be happy to own an autograph. Doesn't matter which set, depending on, just from each of these key players. That would do me. It doesn't have to be an endgame one, although it's the hottest product, and I do very much like the design of them. But it could be any of them.
I think they're beautiful. I'm absolutely becoming more and more of a fan of the MCU cards. And honestly, the big thing for me for this set that I really am really happy with they did, which we've talked about briefly, is the design of the achievements. You know what I mean? A lot of achievements so far haven't had that kind of premium treatment. I mean, it's great to have a rainbow web foil and a rainbow base and all that stuff, and it's really nice, right? But like, for some reason, these exquisite cards feel very, very, very high end as an achievement. And we talked a little bit before on this show about how achievements are a little harder to price realistically sometimes because of how they come up on eBay. And not a lot of people know about Upper Deck, about EPAC yet. Mm-hmm. So having them in that black and having them be in a direct, advancement of what the cards are looking like in the set, I think is really smart by Upper Deck.
Yeah. And then the other part of this exquisite set, and these aren't achievements, they're just very lucky pulls. You've got the white exquisite cards, the diamond relics, and these are numbered. Looks like it's 25. And they have one of those manufactured diamonds in them. So I've got this is not a new thing for Upper Deck. They did it with Marvel Gems. I've got a Black Cat card with a triple diamond in. The single diamond, which was a Black Cat card, which was a black version of that card, I missed on eBay years ago. It's my one regret. I missed it because and it ended overnight my time, and I fell asleep. To this day, I'm kicking myself, and it didn't go for a massive amount either. So I missed that one of one. Anyway,
there are also diamond cards in Infinity War. I happen to have. You can see. Ooh. There's the diamond card.
Yes.
And it's numbered on the back to 49.
Oh, okay. See, they don't work quite as well for me because I'm not sure about the shape really cool. on them.
There's 33 of them, I think, in the Infinity War set. There are a couple characters that have 2 and 3 cards, but there's 33 different And there was actually on the chat board on EPAC a couple days ago, there was a little discussion about the prices of some of the exquisite. The Tony Stark you just showed is numbered to 25, but a lot of them are numbered to 49. And people are paying $200, $300, $400, $500 for some of these exquisite ones, but the Infinity War ones, like the most expensive ones, are like $60, and they're both numbered the same. They're both of the same characters. The only difference is the Infinity ones are cut kind of funny to look like the gems in the background, whereas these have the exquisite. And some people did say that the word exquisite means a lot in overall cards, like the Patrick Mahomes and some of the football and basketball cards. I think Blowout is offering $500,000 to anybody who pulls the exquisite Zion NBA logo 1-of-1 autograph or whatever. It's basically like the best Zion you can pull. And I think Blowout has a $500,000 bounty to anybody who pulls that card.
Get out of here. Are you serious?
Yeah, if you go on the Blowout website, or if you look it up, they posted in their announcements that they have a bounty on that card, that they're willing $500,000 cash to anybody who pulls that card.
Wow.
But a lot of people were saying that the part exquisite matters. I think 10, 20 years from now, if there's another, there's going to be a lot of collectors collecting individual people. Those Infinity War cards are going to be every bit as difficult to get as the exquisite, just because there's 49 of them, like there's other ones. So it either, to me, says the exquisites are priced kind of high, or the Infinity War ones are kind of low. So you can decide which one that is.
So here we go. And then we've got the exquisite Diamond Auto relics, which are basically the same, but with an autograph on them as well. Brian, does it matter to you if it's a sticker or if it's on card?
I like some of the on-card autographs very much. I think I mentioned the 2001 Star Wars Evolution, the original set. I put a set of those together and gave to my oldest son. Those are all on card. So the Carrie Fisher's on card, the Anthony Daniels, James Earl Jones, or whoever's, all those. There's 25 people, I think, in the set. Like, it's really cool to have on-card autographs. But, I mean, if you really want that card, I mean, what are you going to do? Just wait and pray that they make one. I mean, these are cool, but I'm not sure this is, and I'm sure these are sticker autographs, though, aren't they? I mean, the
they all look like sticker. Yeah,
I believe they are. Yeah,
Sebastian is partly cut off.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think you'll take what you can get, and I think at this point everybody's jumped in. With both feet, just collecting these cards because they like them. One thing that's funny on this set is that there are, in the retail or the physical packs, there were Haley Atwell gold Sharpie signed cards where she signed on card. And in the EPAC cards, there are Elizabeth Olsen autograph cards. There where she signed like old Age of Ultron cards or Civil War cards or...
Oh, they're like buybacks, like 1-of-1 buybacks, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
And people are paying insane money for them. And there were a couple of people that were saying that, those are way better than anything else that's come out because they're on card. Yeah. Yes, so that way, but the pricing, you can get a regular... Scarlet Witch autograph out of Endgame for like $250, $275, $300. And, the people are asking the buybacks for like, they're asking $1,200, $1,300. Like, that's a lot extra to pay for an on-card autograph.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter at all. I've never cared if it's on the card or if it's on the acetate sticker or whatever that is. I know for a lot of people, however, it does. It's kind of like the whole, to some people care if a comic book has pence or cents on it in the UK market, and other people don't give a flying monkeys. They just want to own the comic. So, because it is exactly the same comic, it was just printed with a different plate on the front. Brian, one thing I will say before we move on, I'm just going to put this out there on the air. Thank you for the wonderful little taster care package that you sent me, with a little bit of it's kind of like it reminds me of like dealers when they give you first a little taste just to get you started, Norrin, I know you've seen these, but you sent me this marvelous film cell card from Infinity.
Those are sick, man.
Which, and obviously it's all digital projection these days, so whether it's actual... Am I disappearing? What's going on here? There we go.
Here,
Can I turn my background off? Let me turn my background off. There we go, because I'm in my loft. Where are we? Choose background effect. There we go. It's fascinating listening for people, this is. Right. Talk amongst yourselves at home, will you? There we go. Can I turn this off? There we go. Yeah. There we go.
You were telling me about giving you a little taste. I started having Motley Crue's Dr. Feelgood start going through my head.
And we got nice little webbed threads from old Spidey Homecoming. And the one I really like, so these strip mine metals, they confuse me a little bit because I can't quite figure them out, because I know it's supposed to be metal in there, but for the life of me I can't figure out. I'm trying to get it out.
It's a heavy card. It's made of metal.
Yeah, no, the card isn't. That's the thing. The thing inside, when I tap it, doesn't kind of make... But I think that kind of inset part is supposed to be metal.
There's a little metal in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen these.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But it is a thick card. It's like a Fuxum or Marvel Masterpieces thing. Sorry, my webcam is terrible. So,
so it looks like it houses a little metal card inside the cardboard casing.
Yeah,
yes?
kind of. Yeah, it's one of these manufactured. It's like a manufactured patch card, I guess, but it's just got a metal panel inside with an image on of that. It's really
character. Pretty. The one shots are going to be those before long, I think.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting.
I think those are going to be akin. The one shots are selling really well right now, but I think once that game is over, it'll dry right up.
You can see that. So yeah, they're nice. I'll tell you the ones that I found interesting were these stone cards, these Power Stone inserts.
Oh, cool.
So they're little runs. I think there's several of them for the Soul Stone, several of them for the Power Stone, several for the Time Stone, exactly. So they're like, and I think they're all from Infinity War. Yes, they
are. And they're the parallel is you can get that exact same card with the diamond in it, and it's numbered to 49.
Yes.
So that's like the regular version, and then we just talked about the diamond version, the Exquisite, how much they're going for.
That's right.
That was the insert, and then you could get, like I said, you can get the Diamond Relic, which is basically the same die cut card with the little stone in it, and they the back to 49.
So these Homecoming cards. A little story here. Like everywhere really in the UK, we've been on lockdown. And they reopened school for some children, notably the very young ones, kind of 4 or 5. So my daughter was able to go back 2, then 3, then 4 days a week for about the final 6 weeks of the term before the summer break. But not so for the older children. And obviously it's difficult for people to manage at the best of times. But if you're a 12-year-old boy and you're on lockdown, it's pretty horrendous. And a friend of mine who I used to work with, she's got a 12-year-old son called Caden. So first of all, I'm going to say hello, Caden. Welcome to the podcast, even though you're not on the podcast. And I noticed on my newsfeed maybe about 3 weeks back now, he'd drawn a picture. Now, bearing in mind this guy's 12, he'd drawn a picture of Matt Smith from Doctor Who, and it was absolutely incredible. No, and I think I might have showed you this. I can't.
I think you might have. Yeah,
I think I might have because you're nodding there. He drew a picture of Matt Smith, and I thought, wow, okay, he's 12. So there's a little spark there. There's a little bit of, and I commented on. Her mum shared the picture on Facebook, and I commented. I think other people comment, and I noticed in one of the comments that she made, she'd replied, "Yeah, he's having a bit of a tough time. We've had a few tantrums and things like that." And I just thought, you know what, I want to do something nice for him. So I sent him a care package last week, and what I did is I put in a sketch card. I was leading with a sketch card because I thought if he's getting into his artistic stuff, I'll lead with a sketch card. So I put, I've had a Joe Picar sketch from Marvel Beginnings of Hawkeye. Now, Joe Picar is a good artist.
Cool. Yeah, he's great.
Black and white sketch, really nice sketch. So I put that in there, and I put in some other cards. So I put in some Fleer Ultra X-Men, just a few of each, some Marvel Masterpieces 2018. I had a couple of spare Marvel Universe holograms from the 90s. I put those in there. And I put in one of these Homecoming cards that you sent me. I chose one that was definitely of his suit rather than the hoodie that he wears in some parts of the movie. I wanted that to be there. And I wrote him a little letter saying, hello, mate, it's a bit tough at the moment. It's something to cheer you up. Needless to say, of all the things I sent, it was the Homecoming card. Apparently he just sat there looking at it for ages, just mouth open, because it's his favourite film. So, Brian, I just want to say thank you for sending that to me. I paid it forward and sent him some. I'm going to send him some others that I've got here as well. And apparently he's going to write me a little thank you letter back. So, which would be nice. So yeah. I just thought it'd be nice to help, because it's, you sent them to me, and it's a nice thing to be able to do to help someone else out, spread a little bit of kindness. But I think what I'm going to do is probably try and get another kind of, I'm just going to cobble together some of those other base set cards from Homecoming and have them shipped over to me.
No worries. You mentioned Matt Smith. I have like a Matt Smith story I can tell you real quick.
Oh, go on.
Do it.
So I went to Wizard World, Philadelphia. I think it was like either 2013. I think it was 2013 because 2015 I think was the big one with Hemsworth, Evans, Hiddleston, and we went to that one and paid an inordinate amount of money for my ex and my kid to meet all of those people. But in 2013, The Walking Dead was a real big thing, and my two boys and her all went and met like 6 or 7 of the cast and was doing group photos. So we're in the photo area, and I'm off to the side, and the place is packed. There's 35,000 people inside the Philadelphia Convention Center, or it was right near the capacity. There were signs that said 38,000 was the most that could be in this 500,000 foot room or whatever. And I'm kind of off to the side, and I see you have to wait in long lines to get photos, to get autographs and stuff. And there was a little girl, maybe like 10, 11, who she was dressed up as a Doctor Who character, and she was sitting Indian style, just sitting on the floor, just kind of watching the photos, taking place and that sort of thing. You could kind of see behind some of the curtains, you could see people taking photos and whatnot. And I'm just standing there waiting for the rest of the family to get their picture and that sort of thing. And here comes the security guard with Matt Smith walking towards the photograph booth because he's going to be taking photographs with Karen Gillan. She was there. Mm-hmm. And the two of them were going to be taking photos for the next hour with hundreds and hundreds of people that are paying good money to basically have a picture with them. And he walks up. He's coming from behind that girl. So that girl is just sitting there, and she has probably sitting in front of her like about a 2-foot long TARDIS, like in a box, like a nice
cool
little one, but probably like, I would say probably it was at least 24 inches, maybe like 18 inches high or whatever, and it's laying on the ground in front of her feet, and he's coming up behind her. She has no clue, and she's got like some little, I don't know what I only know a little bit about Doctor Who, but she had like a little stuffed, like what are the little metal bad guy things called?
Oh, Dalek.
Yes, I think that's maybe what it was. She had like a little puffy stuffed thing or whatever. So he walked right by her real quick and basically scooped down and picked up that little puffy thing sitting on top of that box and kept walking. And she got up. She thought somebody was like stealing from her. And like she gets up and she's like, whoa. And he wheels around real quick and flashes. And like hardly anybody saw it. I'm just sitting there watching people. He flashed her a really nice smile. I gotta give him his credit. She started crying like the Beatles. I mean, she just bawled. Like she lost her mind. And he basically handed her back the little Dalek and kind of gave her a little pat on the head and then was whisked into the area to start doing his photos and that sort of thing. And like I think her parents went to go get a drink or whatever like that. Like she freaked out, and it was just her. And I thought it was like very cool. And obviously that girl was a huge fan because like I kind of wish somebody had like captured that for her, but I saw it and I just thought it was really cool. I didn't know much about him. He's incredibly skinny.
Yes.
But there's like nothing to him. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. So you mentioned him, and I don't ever tell that story. Like I don't even know how many people even really noticed it, but it was cool. I happened to be standing in the spot where I saw the whole thing coming, and it was kind of neat. So
that's awesome.
Matt Smith wasn't a bad dude. I don't know. Obviously, nobody thinks 100%, but the little bit we saw him, he was pretty good with the fans and whatnot. So
yeah, I've heard good stories about him.
That's so nice.
I've heard good stories. We briefly, we're turning into a Doctor Who podcast here, but I briefly worked on, briefly for over a year, a thing in London that BBC Worldwide put on called the Doctor Who Experience, and it was around Matt Smith's kind of era, and he was kind of part of the promotion of it, and I heard some good stories about him. So apparently he's an all-round good egg. That's Matt
awesome.
Smith. So as is David Tennant. Actually, I will put a vote.
Put that out
David
there.
Tennant as well. Yeah, David Tennant was in Hamlet that the RSC did when I was working in the West End, and I worked on the ticketing for that. And he was so popular because he was at the peak of his success with Doctor Who. But the day it went on sale, there were queues around the theatre and then all the way up the street and then like 2 blocks over to get tickets when they went on sale. And then 2 days in, he hurt his back, and it was the understudy for the rest of the performances. So all these touts that had bought these tickets to flip them and resell them, it was an understudy. Never mind. Patrick Stewart was in it, so they still got their money's worth. So Endgame. The interesting thing about Endgame, because it's merged with Captain Marvel, I thought it was the Captain Marvel set. This is maybe why they rolled it into Endgame. They don't appear to have been able to do deals with the top people in terms of the signatures on this one for whatever reason. They don't appear to have secured them, because I think there are 6 autograph cards, I believe, in the Captain Marvel set. I think the kind of the most known one from my end is Jamon Hounsou, the actor from Gladiator and Amistad and numerous other places, who was an absolutely fantastic actor, but they didn't seem to be able to get Brie Larson for it, or at least they haven't yet. And Samuel L. Jackson or Clark Gregg,
or Jude Law,
or Ben Mendelsohn, who played is it Talos, the Skrull guy in that? Anyway, I'm looking at you guys, and you're just shaking your head and looking.
I don't know.
So,
I'm just like, I'm
have you
looking
seen
through
Captain
the card
Marvel
list now.
Have you seen Captain Marvel?
You asking me or Ryan?
Well, you, Norrin.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It was
there we
great.
go.
Yeah.
It was a good film, wasn't it?
It's
a good film.
Captain Marvel is great. Yeah, I loved it.
Annette Bening would have been good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. She's in there.
So yeah, no, it's a fantastic cast lineup. So I mean, even if they have the cat, to this day I've been saying they could probably have gotten whiskers or paw prints or something like that from the cat.
I would have liked to see something kind of kooky. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they were able to do much. I mean, when we were talking to Jason, right, there was this kind of like they're kind of stuck with a lot of the post-production pictures.
Of course.
So that might have cost them some time in terms of putting set together and getting some pictures and doing. But yeah, I would have loved to seen something from Goose. I think that would have been the way to go, even if it was manufactured. Like a piece of his collar. I don't know. Something could have been kind of cheeky and fun in there. I think that would have been really cool.
I'm actually quite surprised there isn't a Goose insert set, for example.
There should be a Goose insert set. I think that'd be great.
A Goose insert set. Would you?
He sold the show.
Brian, speculation time now. If there was a Goose card that had actual goose fur or whisker or something like that, and it was limited to 5, or had a paw print or something like that, would that have and or hold value? Would people go after it?
Not for me, but I mean, to each their own.
Not for me. I'm not a particularly big Goose fan.
No, I don't think. I do own a relic of Rocket Raccoon, so I mean, I think I Guardians of the Galaxy 2, it had swatch cards, and I have one of Raccoon.
Cool.
So I think it's kind of a joke. It's just some of the material they used for the prison scenes, or that sort of thing. So I know the prison's Guardians of the Galaxy 1, but it's got that same yellow swatch. I don't know if they carried it over to 2. I'm trying to remember if there's a time where they all wear yellow in the second movie. I'm not sure. But whatever.
This prison breakout.
The prison is the first movie, but in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, there's 2 relic cards of Raccoon. One's black material, and it's a short print, and then the yellow one is the more common. I have the more common one.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's kind of a funny card, and I like Rocket, so I'll get that. I don't know if I would have gotten anything of Goose. I think the Endgame set is filled with a lot of hodgepodgey. I think I would have liked to have been in the production meeting because it seems like kind of like Oprah, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. I think whatever ideas anybody threw out, I think they pretty much did for this movie. I think it seems like a lot of what they I think they may know that there's going to be a little gap unless they do something like the MCU 10 set again, where they just put together a set for feel like creating a set. Like, it might be a while before movies are coming out. I don't know if they're going to do anything for Black Widow. I was actually writing it down. I do think they were hoping to get Brie Larson and some of these other people. And then in Endgame, they have the acetate cards. They have the silver version, which everybody's chasing to go get the Brolin. They have the gold versions, the parallels of the base set. They had a couple other insert sets, but not what it seems, the Supreme Intelligence. And I think those have silvers. I think
they do.
And you have one that I think you just posted. So I think they created a ton of inserts just for Ms. Marvel, and they kind of tied it into Endgame because they had done the work, and it just makes the set a little bit bigger and a little bit harder to chase, and they can sell more cases. Just by adding that in there. They put in the, I don't know if you saw any of the Ultron multiple metallic, the 1-of-1 cards.
No.
So if you go under Endgame and just start searching some of the inserts, there was an insert set that I didn't even really remember that it just shows some of the characters, and they put in a 1-of-1 set into Endgame. Those are in there. They did.
Oh, yeah. Remarkable People, right?
Yeah, Remarkable People and Road to Infinity War. They made ones for those.
Oh, wow. Yes, of course.
So if you just start scrolling through Endgame, if you go into ePack and just type in Endgame for search and then just start scrolling and just keep scrolling, you'll see a whole bunch of just insert sets and different things they threw in there. This is kind of like an everything bagel of a set.
Yeah, it's all these. So basically, it's their buybacks, but they are literally 1-of-1s.
Yeah, they put a lot of stuff into this one. I think this was kind of like all hands on deck. They put a lot of stuff in. There's a ton of different things to try and chase, and I think the aesthetics of the card are pretty good. The autograph list is pretty good, albeit it's pretty hard to hit one. There's still that pain of there are certain people who have never signed. I mean, they did get Slattery. They did get the Asian gentleman who gets killed by Ronin. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the buyback cards that are autographed. If you look on eBay, you'll see an Haley Atwell. Those are in the physical boxes. The Olsons seem to be only in ePack.
Interesting. Yeah, look, she's physically signed all of these, and there must be a COA.
And there's
with
a sticker on the back.
Yeah, there's a COA that's not shown. Then that's interesting. So they've got the COAs for where they've signed on the card. That's interesting. So it seems to me that when they're stickered, there's no COA.
They also have the 49 one-shot cards signed by Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So the metal card. There's if you look up. One-shot autographs.
It's a long list. When you go into ePack and you go to insert.
There's a couple people. If you just look if you just type in Endgame and then go to autographs, you'll see it. If you search Endgame.
Yeah, just scrolling down. Here we go. Right. Printing plates. One-shot autographs. Here we go.
Yeah, she signed 49 of those. Those are numbered.
They're rather nice.
Wow. It's a sticker, though.
Yeah, still, they're nice.
Yeah.
I like the layout of them. I like the design. Interesting. Okay.
Wow, fascinating.
So yeah, there's a lot of different ideas in here. It makes it an interesting set. I mean, they've got the sketch cards. I haven't really looked at much of the sketch art. To be fair,
it's a pretty nice lot. Like
it is.
I think
it's a
pretty good range.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's a very good list of artists. They've got Al Milgram in here. Some of the guys we've had some of the guys here. Ekin Hodge, Dominic Racho. Who else have we got? I mean, there's loads of people. I'm just thinking of people that are friends of the shows. There's Dre.
Gabe.
Porsche.
Glebes, I'm sorry.
Glebes. Are they in here? Let me have a look.
Yeah, they're here. There's a Thor.
Scrolling down.
There's a Fred Ian sketch that everybody's wigging out over.
Oh yeah, people do that. People do. So there's the Ballards.
Thor.
Now, this is the Ballard that you had.
Yes, I traded it away.
Great piece.
That's a solid piece. I like that. Pancake wood.
But I got a printing plate autograph out of it, so
nice.
Can't beat that. That's smart.
Can't beat that.
Well, I have a lot of those, and it was one of the ones I didn't have. So.
Oh, okay. That's kind of your niche on the autographs, isn't it? You like the printing plate ones.
Well, I decided I would go after the Infinity War ones.
Oh, okay.
I have 19 of them now. So.
Whoa! How many are you missing?
Well, there's 15 cards and there's 4 printing plates. There's 60, so I have 19 of them.
Wow.
Missing to have all of them. I'm missing the Brolin. I'm missing. There's 2 different Palm Klemenievs. I'm missing one of the Klemenievs, and I'm missing the dual autograph of Captain America and Scarlet Witch.
Wow. Okay. I'm sure. You'll find them.
This is pretty interesting. I just noticed this. They have it under Upper Deck, under EPAC listed differently. For the Iron Man Dad auto, the John Starley. Is that how it says?
Oh, Satterley.
Satterley.
There's 2 versions. There's one where he signs Stark.
Yeah.
And then there's just the regular autograph, and then he did the regular autograph and put in parentheses Stark. Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch, also did her name, and then she did "You Will" in parentheses as well.
Yeah, and then Red Skull did Red Skull. I think that's great, man. I love that they listed them as different things to get.
Oh, wow,
I love that.
I've only just noticed that. That's fantastic. So I'd be happy with Ross Marquand signature, regardless of the Red Skull part, because I like him in Walking Dead. But John Slattery, I'm a huge Mad Men fan. So, yeah.
He's great in that, isn't he?
Oh, Mad Men. I loved Mad Men. It's such a good show. Such a good show. But yeah, John Slattery, he was fantastic in how many movies was he in? Maybe 4 of the MCU movies? Because he was in that first one as a flashback.
They had, I think, 3 different characters play Tony Stark's dad. They had
they had Dominic Cooper.
Yes, he was one. He's in, what's that movie where he's the priest? Or what's the TV show?
Preacher.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. He
was one, and then I think there was a guy who did one time, and then Slattery's done it several times as well.
Yeah. No, they're fantastic. Some of those lower sort of tier autographs, I'd be very happy to have. The higher ones are a little bit out of my reach, I think, but certainly at the moment. But one day I will get them. One day I will own them. So Black Widow, I think there's going to be a Black Widow set. I absolutely do, because we by the time this episode drops, we can talk about this actually, because by the time people hear this episode, it will have dropped. So the episode with Bubby Johansson, Brian, you won't know this, but this Thursday's episode is Bubby Johansson, who effectively designed a lot of the early MCU and Marvel Entertainment sets for Upper Deck. Mm-hmm. He's moved over to the sort of
TCG side.
Yeah, TCG side now, but he still kind of oversees a lot of things. And I forget what I was coming on to say now. Why I was coming on to say yes. He mentioned in passing that there had been a card set for every MCU movie so far. So I think it'd be extremely unlikely for them to miss Black Widow out.
And he's talking about how the releases had to be pulled back and why you have the kind of wait and stuff like that, which is really good conversation, really cool stuff.
But one of the other things he did mention is, yes, it's along those lines, is quite often because the CGI work and they don't get the final images with enough time to release the set near the release of the movie. So that's often why there's a bigger gap now between things being made and then released and then between the sets coming out. But actually, the COVID situation could actually help Black Widow because Black Widow was about to come out.
Yes.
So in theory, that set could come out much closer to when the movie does. If I'm making an assumption here, but if the Black Widow movie was pretty much ready to go and ready to roll, they might get the production imagery a little bit sooner. So we could see that set with less of a gap than as we did with Endgame and Captain Marvel. I don't know. I'm kind of speculating here. Who knows?
It would be kind of nice if they started syncing up a little bit. You know what I mean? That'd be kind of nice to give them a head start.
It would be. But one of the interesting things that Topps do is that they kind of, with their Star Wars stuff, they release kind of preview sets with stuff that is available from the trailers, for example. So they kind of, you've always got the trailer sets, and then they do the Journey 2 sets, which is kind of a retrospective of all the films leading up to it. And it may have 10, 12, 15 cards where they can use images from the as yet to be released movie, which doesn't spoil anything. And then, of course, when the sets come out, and the Topps did this back in the day with Empire Strikes Back in the early 80s, is they release a first set that comes out around the movie comes out, which has got a lot of stuff in. Then they release a second set, which has all the finished stuff in. So Rise of Skywalker set 2 just dropped about 2 weeks ago. And we're 6 months after the movie now, but that has all the spoiler images, all the finished CGI images, whereas the first set had some stuff from the movie, but not all the stuff that would necessarily spoil it. So no, maybe that's an approach. I don't know.
They even did that with the TV series with The Mandalorian. I have all of that stuff. I have the trailer set and the episode. So hopefully they do that for like WandaVision and all these other television shows. They'll do card series for those too. Yeah. I think that'd be great.
Well, they did Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They've done...
Oh, that's right.
They did Agent Carter as cards. So they've done some of them as well. So I think Upper Deck isn't missing an opportunity. If the show has any legs, they'll probably try to put something together.
I'm glad they do, because some of the like the Daredevil set, I think, is extraordinary. Some of the aspects of it. So
what I'd like to see? I'd like to see the What If set. You know what I mean? I know it's going to be animated, but you're still having a lot of the actors, the big actors, voicing these characters in alternate scenarios. I think that'd be really cool to see, like a zombie Captain America with a Chris Evans signature. You know what I mean? I think it'd be kind of you know what I mean? Like, that'd be really fun. That'd be really cool. I wonder if they'll do that.
Or if they do the next Into the Spider-Verse, if they put a set together for that. Because my kids love that movie. I mean,
it's a great movie. That's a good one. That's a really solid piece.
Still not saying it.
You haven't seen Spider-Verse, really?
No, there's a lot. There's an awful lot of films I haven't seen.
That's fair. I still haven't seen Picard, so I can't judge you.
I've seen Trolls 2 about 15 times in the last 6 weeks alone, but I haven't seen the last episodes of The Mandalorian, for example.
Oh, okay.
So, and I'm an entire season behind on Fear the Walking Dead. So, there's a certain amount of stuff that you can't watch with a 4-year-old.
There's a backlog.
And Walking Dead is not one of them, unfortunately. Brian, what's next for you? You're kind of obviously Endgame. It becomes a rush to those achievements, and then it kind of cools off a little bit. But Infinity War is still available on EPAC. So I think Endgame could potentially be for quite some time. So the in-pack autographs could be a steady trickle of those. What are you waiting to pop? What's next?
I think I would say there are probably people who are listening who are ruining, missing out on some things. And I think there's a post on your board saying like, look, this shouldn't be an addiction, that sort of thing. I think there's opportunity. When I was on 5 or 6 weeks ago, I said, and it's true, that there's a big difference between the Zoe Saldana autographs between the first Guardian and the second Guardian movie. In the first one, her card is insanely rare. In the second one, she signed like ZSP on a lot of things. And you could, 5-6 weeks ago, and maybe this is just a little coincidence, but yesterday, just for giggles, I was looking at Guardian autographs just to see if there were any other Pratts and whatnot. And all of the Zaldanas that were like 70, 80, 90 bucks, $100 autographed and stuff, they're all gone. The cheapest one that's on eBay currently is like almost, 180, 190 and whatnot. I think there are people who are smart, who are still acquiring. I think, like I said, because there are so many people in other parts of the world, and I think this is a differentiator between like baseball cards and these Marvel cards, is that there are some really big buyers, huge buyers, who are buying in other parts. And even if Upper Deck let this Endgame set, I think it's probably, I would bet that they probably produced more of this than maybe Infinity War, but I could be wrong on that. But I definitely think even if they went pretty big on this, there's so much stuff in it, and there's so much desired stuff. And even as we said, there's stuff numbered to 25 and 49. And like, I think the limits are still there, that I think this stuff is all really good. But I also think that if you don't want to compete against, if you don't want to step into the pit, compete against some of the big dogs who are basically much better financed.
Oh, yes.
Like, I think there's things you can go get that I think are still moving and still popular and still, focus on the main characters, focus on the characters that have an emotional attachment, focus on the characters that something happens to, focus on the characters that are just well liked. The main people. I think the more you stay in the main road, I think, the original Avengers, the original Guardians, the original, and even like I would even throw, maybe Mantis in. Mantis has got a cute little, she's in Endgame, she's in Infinity War, she's got a couple key lines, about, Batista, she can still see him, he's invisible and whatnot, and, Hurry, he's very strong, and, that sort of thing. Like, I think some of these characters are still opportunity, and I'm seeing stuff dry up, if I'm really being honest.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
There's not as much stuff out there. I mean, there's more stuff coming out all the time, but I definitely think this is got traction. I definitely think there is a core of people that are just buying this stuff and just putting it away and just waiting, and I think there's an opportunity there. So, just take it for what it is. I think there are some characters that are going to be so culturally irrelevant going forward that, I think anything you get of theirs, I think 20 years from now is going to be worth money because, within reason, because there's going to be a whole group of people, my kids' age and younger, that are just, I remember when that came out and how that was such a big deal. And I think people are going to go back and get some of that stuff. So we'll see. But I definitely think out there to grab. And I think I'm just going to wait. I probably should have waited. I shouldn't have even gotten the 6 boxes. But I ended up getting my printing plate out of it. I ended up getting a couple autographs out of it. I did well, but, I think I could just lay back and just, there's things out there that I can acquire. So I don't think don't beat yourself up is what I would say to the people out there. Don't worry about it. Like, if that really shiny Evans or Hemsworth or one of them will pop available here at some point. So just bide your time.
Yeah. Well, it's like we say with the sketches and the one-of-ones, these things always pop up sooner or later. So
they do. They really do.
They'll get out there. Well, I have to say, Brian, you've kind of you've inspired me to go on a journey with this. I've got a ridiculous amount of MCU and other cards now on my ePacks account that at some stage need to be shipped. I looked at my transfer card this morning, which has got 732 items in, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, and it will cost me at the cheapest amount $200 to ship it just to a US address. So I think I'll be waiting for a while. So none of the stuff I've got on ePacks I will have for quite a while. Short of actually driving to their warehouse, but even then, it's the cost of them to actually go and get it and assemble my order that I'm paying for the most part. So, yeah. So I at the moment I have access to pictures of all these wonderful things, but I don't actually
look at them fondly.
I look at
cuddle your computer.
Yes. I do. I do that more often than not, to be fair, usually because it's got your face on it. So it's but thank you, Brian. You've really kind of gotten me a little bit hooked on them. I've managed to put together base sets of the majority of the ones I want to go for, and I'm filling in the insert sets quite nicely, and largely thanks to you and a lot of other people. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
No worries. You made the choice to jump in. All I did was just talk about it and stuff. It's something that I'm into, and I think it's pretty cool. And I was really sad when Endgame happened because my boys were 8 and 5 during the first Iron Man movie, and you could feel, especially after the post credit, they did that little 3.5 minute homage to all the people that had been in the Endgame movie.
Yeah.
With the almost the graduation-esque music.
Yeah.
Like that,
and the autograph on the credit of the screen and all that stuff. That was really
so
cool.
well done.
That was so well done. And I think it was the Russos even saying that this is very much a pivot point where this era is kind of ending and they're branching out into a new era. And now that I have kids that are going off to college and whatever, and they happen to be luckily the right age to be on this entire ride, I think what Upper Deck did was, or what Marvel did the last 13 odd years or so, was pretty amazing. So I think there's a lot of emotional attachment to it. So I wouldn't undersell the importance of that going forward, that these actors and these movies just carry a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So I think, like I said, in the 80s and 90s, the Mickey Mantle craze went ballistic because there were a lot of people my dad's age who used to argue between Duke Snider and Mickey Mantle and who was better, and Willie Mays, and they all, played the outfield, and they all had their strengths and weaknesses and whatnot. And just having that emotion of the idyllic 1950s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Affected my dad and a bunch of other people, and the Mantles, even though there's a ton of them, became a big thing. And I think if history is your guide, I think this could be something as well. So I think you guys are all, we're all old and gray, I just hope that we leave something that's more valuable than what we bought it for, and that we pass it on and whatnot. So I think this stuff is pretty cool. And obviously it was growing up and just seeing the comics and now having all these things come to life and seeing them as well, the CGI effects and the great storytelling and all that other stuff. I think it sells itself very well. Basically, I'm hooked, so I don't know if I'll ever be as much into the Fleer Ultra Spider-Man and that sort of thing. The art is wonderful. Don't get me wrong. The motion of the home movies and tying it in with the kids and all that other stuff is why I'm in the area that I specifically am in.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It's nice to have that personal connection. It's what it's all about. Knowing
having met Chris Evans and Hemsworth and Hiddleston and watching Sebastian Stan clown around. We went to Rhode Island Comic Con and saw Sebastian Stan, and it was an interesting minute and a half or whatever while he was signing my kid's shield. But like a little kid, Dolph Lundgren was a couple booths down signing autographs. And he's like, "Is that Dolph Lundgren? I am totally getting a picture with him." Like Sebastian Stan couldn't have been more geeked about meeting Dolph Lundgren. And he kind of almost didn't talk to my kid maybe as much as I might have liked, because he was like a kid himself, that's Ivan Drago. You know, like he was completely geeked, and his handler was like, yeah. He goes, oh my God, I'm totally going over there. So, like, you know, having met a lot of these people as well at some of these Comic Cons is pretty cool. We met Anthony Mackie, and he's like, where are you guys from? And we're like, yeah, like, you know, upstate New York. He's like, the Buffalo Bills. I like the Buffalo Bills. He goes, oh, yeah, I think they're doing pretty good. They're up and coming. And, you know, like, he couldn't have been cooler. So just meeting these people as well, and having my kid, who was young and impressionable, have this shield signed, getting to meet his heroes and stuff, like, oh, yeah. That's, you can't compete with that. Like, I appreciate the art and everything, but having met all these people and having these interactions and whatnot is just insane. So
I think that's a really great perspective to have too, right? And I think from the comic book side, it's a similar thing when we meet like artists and writers, right? For the comic books and the characters, right? Both card sets offer that same kind of personable convention, kind of like ability to meet the person you're collecting, right? In a strange way. And I think that's great, man. I think that's really wonderful and gives me a very unique perspective on MCU for sure, especially the cards. I mean, ever since you've come on, I just watch the autographs now and I'm like, all right, what character do I want to go for? Do I want the Wasp? Like, I keep figuring out like, who am I into? Because I kind of want to do like a little master set or whatever.
I need to get one of her. So yeah, you just mentioned somebody that I want to shag one of. So no Paul Rudd, but what are you gonna do?
Yo, so there's no Paul Rudd. I was gonna ask. Nothing.
No,
wow.
There isn't, not on an MCU card.
Wow.
Did he sign for Parks and Recreation? Didn't he sign for some set? Like,
was there a Parks and Rec set? Maybe you're right.
Pass.
That's the only thing.
He may have.
What else was he in? He was in some TV show.
Pass.
Yeah, Parks and Rec. You're right.
Pass.
That was.
He has signed on an MCU set. The signature's just so small you can't see it.
Clever. Very good. Very good.
I'll get my coat. Brian, thank you for this. I really appreciate you coming back on. I think Endgame's, you know, it's going to be available for people to buy for a bit. So, you know, it's $17.99 for 4 cards. However, all of them are physical and it's high risk, high reward. So if you pull something, you know, its chances are it's going to be pretty good on the auto front. So
there was a guy a hockey collector who bought 2 packs and hit a Brolin print plate graph. Because one of the people I talked to the most on the e-Pack site then bought it from him for $1,200.
Wow. Imagine having $1,200 in your back pocket.
Games, but there was a guy who, and it was probably smart. That's kind of why I was like, if I hadn't bought the 6 boxes, I could have gone and hit that guy up. So, I mean, I would have been happier with just that one card than everything else I acquired. So,
yeah.
But no, there have been statistical anomalies, to be sure, in here. There are some people that you don't know. Maybe they bought a whole bunch, but they purport, you know, I bought 1 pack and I hit a Chris Evans autograph or whatever. So, I mean, like, who knows?
You just don't know, man. But that's part of the scary kind of gambling aspect of the hobby. But there is a benefit to knowing exactly what you want and what cards would make you happy, especially when you go to buy and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. I mean, I've seen it too. I've seen reports of that as well, where people are pulling crazy things.
Well, we've got a couple in the group.
Yeah.
There's one guy in the group who did pull a cap. So, and he's kind of like has no idea. You know, he knows what he wants for it, but I don't know if it'll necessarily move in the group. It'll move eventually if he wants to sell it, but
yeah,
you know. So, you know, it is what it is. But good luck to him. We should probably wrap up. Our artist intro this week is one that you have heard before. Axebone has returned to grace our opening. Brian, you haven't heard his intro yet, but believe me when I say it is fitting to have a man of your stature on this show with Axebone doing the intro. Axebone is an absolute dude. So I'll send you a link afterwards. You can feast your eyes on some of his artwork, and believe me, it is a feast. And that's about it, really. Any last words from you, Norrin? Any pearls of wisdom? Anything to say to our audience and our listeners?
I'm just grateful for our correspondent coming on today, and I just appreciate him doing this with us and informing us of MCU cards, really. Yeah, this is so much fun to always hear from you, brother.
No worries. I appreciate your guys' time, and it's fun to have the conversation, so anytime.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Great. All right, folks, as ever, you can find us at the MCC Pod on Facebook, on Instagram, on the Twitter, and on YouTube at / Marvel Card Collectors Podcast, because at the MCC Pod was not available.
How dare they?
I've written a strongly worded letter. I have. Exciting episodes coming up. Exciting episodes that we've recorded that haven't yet been released. Year 2 continues. And I'd like to say we're blowing the bloody doors off.
We're blowing them off. I'm terrible about that. I'm never doing that again. Enjoy collecting, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. Visuals and tasting notes for each episode can be found on our Facebook page. You can subscribe and leave us a voicemail via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Please take a second to subscribe, like, and review our show wherever you get your podcasts. Our podcast can be found by Googling at the MCC Pod, which will also find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Our Facebook community is at MCCW, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide, and MMC, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. The great music we use is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists, and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.